Hello, everybody. I am back. It is our April 2026 MCC. Welcome all. It is your host, Adela Hittel. I am the founder and CEO of Project Human, also known as Fink. These are monthly online events where members of our Fink community, where our members Wow, I'm losing my brain and mind. Where the members of Fink and our community come together to explore meaningful topics around mental and emotional well being. Each conversation will include a little bit about us and then what we're going to talk about. So, this space exists for one and simple and powerful reason so that none of us have to navigate life's challenges alone. Here, we create a safe space where every voice matters and every experience is respected. Project Human is an organization dedicated to saving human lives by closing gaps in mental and emotional well-being through advocacy, education, and information. I just wanted to make sure I unmuted myself, you guys. I just had a moment. We turn creative projects into connection points so people don't just feel seen, they leave with the next step. A couple of our core community projects are these monthly community conversations, so join us every last Thursday. We have our Artists Within podcast that has officially reached over 1,000 downloads because of you. No marketing, no promotion, our community, every human that's listened. Thank you so much. Please continue to share and subscribe. We would appreciate that. As well as to this channel, YouTube channel, our Fink channel. That'd be great. We have our events that we host, our quarterly mental health day, which our next one is June 13th at Spendo's Italian Cuisine and Pizza. We were just there yesterday actually. Mr. Barron's very excited to have us and excited to have the community, so please come out to that. Our Runway to Resilience, which is a Runway Resilience Fashion and Art Show, September 19th. That is another event that part of our core program that we host and do, which really is part of our big creative project initiative that we have going on with our Define the Narrative documentary, which we'll be finishing up this year in that. And in short, we really are a community. We are an organization where we bring the community from isolation and disconnection. We want to break the stigma and the silence where we can speak about where we're going and what we need to do. And then the biggest thing is the community fragmentation where we feel just so disconnected from each other. We're here to bridge that because we have the resources we need to be able to succeed. We can do what we can around that because humans are worth the effort. Human first means we lead with dignity before opinions, compassion before assumption, and connection before conclusion. We don't reduce people to labels, diagnosis, or roles, and we see the human in front of us and we act like they matter because they actually do. And when the community treats humans like they're worth the effort, outcomes change. People reach out sooner, support systems strengthen, and hope becomes something you can actually practice. As always, a disclaimer, we are not medical professionals. If you are in crisis, reach out to your local mental health resource or dial 911 for immediate assistance. For national suicide prevention support, dial 988. And again, we are live streaming and recording for those of you who, as we move forward, do not wish to be on camera or on live stream. Please, this is your opportunity to mute yourself, take yourself off, and we will be using this for our promotional purposes. I'm really excited to introduce tonight's conversation, which is something that many of us don't always give ourselves permission to do. Pause, reflect, and reset. Right before I came on here, I had to pause, I had to reflect, I had to reset my whole mind to be here, to be where we're at because of the day, because of the month. It is the end of the month. And so we need to give ourselves that permission. And before we continue on into what that means, let me introduce you to our members and our co-hosts tonight, Jen, and our team that is our community that's joining us on our Zoom call. Bear with me as I move them in, and there they are. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Jen, take it away.
Hello.
Pause, reflect, and reset, the focus of our call tonight. I want to make this personal. The other day I was looking at my wall calendar because I'm old school and I need a wall calendar. And I just stopped and I stared at the month. It's April. It's already April. Like, holy God, this year is seriously flying by. And we're already in the second quarter, and I feel like my life has gotten away with me. And I'm like, what have I accomplished? Where was I supposed to be? Shoot, what have I not done? And I'm looking for reasons to feel guilty. And that's just who I am. And I have to be careful about that because, for many of us, this year doesn't look or feel the way we thought it would back in like January, like January 1st. Some of us are like just trying to keep up. Some of us are like, I'm navigating some challenges. Maybe they're barely changing like their day to day, maybe they're treading water. But that clarity and intention that came with January 1st and like setting intentions for the year, sometimes it gets a little scrambled eggs by now. And I just want everyone to know that that's okay. All the feelings that we're feeling are totally valid and allowable and normal. um, I want to encourage you to not be judgy about yourself and don't do what my intention is to do and look for things to be guilty about because it's not about feeling guilty that you didn't master orchestrate your year to be exactly what you wanted and be in control all the time. It's about being honest and aware of what's going on with you and giving yourself grace and space to process and reflect and align with whatever's going on now. Um, I want to encourage everybody to think back with me. So like go back to January 1st. Go back in your mind. You can close your eyes if you want to, if you feel comfortable, but like go back in your mind to where you were at the beginning of the year. And already it's 4 months ago, but let's pretend to be there now. When the year started, what did you hope that it would be like? What did you plan to accomplish? And just sit with that. And if you feel comfortable sharing, I would love to hear from a couple of you. What did you hope it would be like? What did you plan to accomplish?
Well, while you guys are thinking for a second, what I'd hoped it would be my mastermind winning year of the year right off the bat, because that's where my head is always at, right? Like that's just where Della's at. Everybody, it's done. But the reality is that things take a little bit longer, and there's setbacks. And so, what I have actually accomplished is refining my own system to be better to completing tasks, daily tasks versus the bigger tasks of my, not to say I don't need my dreams and my hopes and my ambitions, but the idea of refining my tasks and my daily things to be able to accomplish for the bigger goal. That I've done more so than maybe accomplish my big goals. So it's cool to see that I've done a lot more of the little stuff than I think or give myself credit for. But and being able to write it down and getting better on that is like one of my personal ones. So that's like my thing because that's always my biggest goal. How do I refine myself? How do I make myself better? How do I do what I want to do without burning myself out, without putting myself all the way out, or and not being of service?
Alicia, Debbie, or Eric?
So I think what you had started to say, not starting with January, but like how you said that you go and try and figure out what you can criticize about yourself. The best piece of advice that my acupuncturist gave me was, would you talk to your best friend that way? And like ever since then, it's like I'm really bad at it, but like, obviously, because I'm saying that about myself, but like when you're like catch yourself in like those like ruminations, like just say like, would I talk to my best friend like that? Why am I talking to myself like that? So I don't know. That's what came up in my head. So sorry, a little off topic, but
I have really wonderful and stubborn best friends, and I would be like, let's get real.
but would you be as critical with them as you are with yourself?
No, I'd totally make excuses for them.
That's
But
because of that self-grace.
yeah,
Yeah,
that whole
exactly.
grace thing, that's definitely something I'm working on.
Yeah.
Uh, did you have a plan for the year, Eric?
Man, Adele, we don't have the time or space for that tonight. I'm actually, so my oldest daughter is 20 as of today. Today's her birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
And she will be delivering my first grandchild here in less than 2 weeks.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
So, beginning of the year was a lot of thinking of like trying to prepare for that, but then, a whole going through a separation and a big mental health journey.
For
That's
you
had
or for your daughter?
for me.
Oh, wow.
Certainly not
Um,
something you plan on at the beginning
No.
of the year.
yeah, no,
It's
it was
real.
around the end of 25. I'm a faith-based guy. Had a very humbling experience. Church came through in a very big way for the holidays and for the family prior to the holidays. And then just tried to buckle down, kind of like, men's mental health is a big thing to me. My brother unfortunately committed suicide back in 2012. Um, so, as men, we're kind of just like buckle up and put your head down and just work. And I was prepared for that, but then I cracked under pressure because I felt like I was more worried about everybody else's mental health to where mine slipped. I can't take care of anybody else if I can't take care of myself.
Yep, exactly.
Well, you've
Well,
come
and
along.
Sometimes life throws us. Oh, go ahead,
yeah,
ladies.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say you've come a long way with all the things that you and I know on a deeper level, Eric. But you've come a long way in the 4 months in so many things. Again, we have to look at the smaller accomplishments. And you guys kept mentioning the criticism. I think this year is the first year, and as I'm moving, because I can account for my actions by writing them down, and I know this is coming from someone. I can't write anything down. I can't keep a calendar. I can't do anything. I can't. It gives me more grace to see again those smaller things that I'm doing in the midst of the bigger ones. So we've talked about that too. It women and men, mental health is based on the human experience, and all of us experience a big thing, and all of us need to take a pause for a second and go, whoa, 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 can I breathe? Am I in a place where I need to be? Can I, let me reflect of where I need to take a moment to, and then start shifting our perspective from I'm so terrible at this. I suck at making these decisions. I shouldn't have been here. All these negative thoughts that come through because you guys said yourself that, your best friend, would you treat your best friend that way? Or would you treat, and we treat ourselves. But I wish Yolanda was on here right now, but she has a family thing. But she had a thing this week where we had church, and you, Eric, you said you're faith-based. And I'm going to bring this really quick in there. But we were talking about the commandments, and it was love your neighbor like you love yourself. And then she said this, she goes, man, I don't even like myself. And so then we got into a really deep conversation. Well, then how can we like others if we don't like ourselves? How can we love others if we don't? And so if we don't love ourselves or see ourselves, then how can we truly really be in the path of that, light or whatever we were setting up to be, if we don't see ourselves first, and that we're worth the effort of some rest, and worth the effort of a little bit of hydration and water, and taking a breath and asking for help. That's a big one.
Yes.
Many
It's
of us have experienced frustration and anxiety, and that whole like, I wish I could just give up. But we've also, as we just said, kind of buckled up and said, I can keep going. And life doesn't care what we plan. Things happen, and we don't fail per se. We keep going with new information, stuff happens, life happens. But even when we're being positive and like, you can't break me down and I am the storm, adapting under pressure is exhausting, even when it's necessary. We have to be able to adapt and think on our feet and roll with it, even when there are surprises, happy, baby, unhappy, separation, these things, they come up and we have to be ready for them.
Yeah.
And that's why we have community is, hey, I'm going through something. Adela, Alicia, Debbie, Eric, I need to talk this out because life just smacked me with something I really wasn't thinking about or ready for, and I need help. And that's why Project Human wants to build community, because there are people out there that they're like, ugh, I'm a burden. I can't call anybody. Well, you can and you should. You're worth
conversation.
it.
It's so important because, again, as you mentioned, just like our life doesn't align with our plans. We may, whatever we planned might not align with, because we can't control the outside. We can't control other people. We can't even if we know the people around us, our spouses, our mothers, our fathers, our children, we can't control anyone, but we can control ourselves. So when life doesn't align with our plans, it doesn't mean we're completely derailed off track. Okay, it means that we're going on this little train. It doesn't matter. It just think of your train, make a train, little choo-choo one, whether it's a little old one, little big one, fast one, however one. Mine's the one that hasn't even been built yet, and so it's just too fast. It can't even pause, and it has to learn. So you think of that. Where are you at? Look, even the rocket ships are going. But you think and see that, and so if you're moving too fast sometimes with yourself and with everything around you, people can't keep up, and so it'll derail you in some way, and you'll think that, well, it's just terrible, you can't ever. No, it just means you have to get back on and maybe reverse a little bit so you can pick the people up, or let them catch up so that they can get on the train, and then you guys can speed off again too, right? Our plans aren't about it never being done or catching up to something. It means also picking up where we left off, right? When we get the new information, we can pause it, we can put it there, get what we need, and then move forward with our higher purpose.
Yeah, I think that whole like adapting our plans and moving forward with a higher purpose is like one of the biggest things that we can all just kind of wrap our brains around. And I do want to say something that I think is pretty important, and I'm asking everyone to hear me and kind of absorb this. It's really easy to focus on what didn't happen or what you think went wrong. But then you risk not getting time to positively reflect and appreciate, what did go right? What did you actually accomplish? And I beg you, take time to be like, check me out for and I'm such a hero because I'm like, get away from the beating yourself up. Even though I tendency to do that, I'd like to celebrate that I've read 3 books this year so far, and I'm really proud of myself for that. So, what about you guys? Like, what has happened right for you? What did you accomplish? Let's positively reinforce each other.
I kept my plants alive. I have a lot of plants, and I have a garden. I'm building another one. I have an avocado tree. I have roses. I have stuff. Yes. And I used to kill everything. I used to kill everything all the time. I started handing out plants because I have too many living. I'm like, I don't even know what to do now. I'm one of those crazy plants ones. That is my proudest moment because I couldn't do it, but I did it this year. Persistence works, you guys. You do not give up on something you want. You want to create life, you can do it. You just have to kill a few things before you do it. I'm just saying, it happened. If that doesn't reflect upon our humanity in actions.
What's awesome about that is, in this mental health journey, is I completed a 6-week IOP program. For those that don't know, that's an intensive outpatient therapy program. And one of the ladies, there were a couple ladies in there that they were both garden life, plant life. And I'm like, oh yeah, my mom, I'm staying with my mother during the separation. I'm like, my mom has plants. Well, the one lady, as a graduation gift, when I graduated, me and 2 others were graduating at the same time. So she gave each one of us a plant as a gift, as a graduation gift.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
that's
so
nice.
nice.
Yeah. I'm having a nurture life now again, and only as a plant life instead of a baby.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes.
What a cool thing. So then you can look at it and remember like all the things that you've accomplished too.
Yeah,
Someone,
it's a kind of reminder.
yeah, I've had cancer twice, and one thing that somebody said to me both times I've had it, it was the same person that was with actually in a group that I belonged to, and she said to me, Debbie, this is not a surprise to God. He already knew this, so you need to get with him and talk about it. That helps you, okay, because it's part of his plan for you, and he didn't give it to you, but it was part of the plan that he knew was happening. So you need to work it out with him. And I think that what happens is with the devil, that's the devil takes all of the negatives and piles them on you and just overwhelms you with the negative and you're not good enough and you're not, and doesn't let you see the part that's God. because your God has told you you're good enough because he died for you and
What
he
would
loves
you
you.
what would you like to point out that God did right for you or that you did in his eyes this year so far? What are you super proud of? And if you can't think of anything, I can think of several.
Oh, really?
Well,
um,
really quick, I was just gonna ask Debbie, can I?
sure.
Interesting that you bring that up because, and I was thinking about this before coming on. This separation is ironically actually an answered prayer, and it wasn't the answer that I had been hoping for.
But
It's
maybe it was
something
an
that I had
answer
been,
to something you hadn't asked.
yeah, like I had been praying for quite a few months. Was this relationship still meant to be what it was meant to be? And apparently it wasn't, but it just, and not the way I expected the separation to go. Sorry, didn't mean to divert there.
No, it's okay.
No, that's important. That's a good point that like even though you like might see something as a setback, it still could be for a good cause.
Mhm. The shift in
Certainly
perspective.
rolling with it.
Well, it's like that reflection, just because we pray, we're not always going to get the answer that we hope
No,
for.
God answers your prayers. It might not be the answer that you want, but he does answer
Right.
your prayers.
Yeah.
That's
And
what I meant.
so
Didn't you one of yours was to graduate or complete one of the classes or a couple classes that you finished this year, right? Or
yeah, yeah, I
yep.
just finished, yes, last week. Yeah. I
Yeah.
finished two of them. I know, I'm so excited. So I only have three more semesters,
There we
five more classes,
go.
five more classes. And I don't have to take the I did the dyslexia certificate because that's what my goal was, to be able to um, have the tools to evaluate Martina, my granddaughter, and see where she was on the scale,
Mhm.
and to be able to then use that to diagnose her with the proper interventions to be able to help her. And it is amazing that's all happened this semester, because the other stuff was just like history and doing stupid stuff, and I was like, okay, this is not helping. But
Yep.
this semester I had the assessment class, so I have all these, and I have all the books that has all the assessments in it.
Well,
And then I have all how to interpret them, and I have all the books that have the interventions in them. So
Well, because you see, you just said you can't believe that all that happened in time, in this little time this way. Well, because progress is quiet, right? And it keeps going even when things really feel heavy and when you can't see where the end of the road is, where you can't.
Mhm.
You don't even know who's on your side, but progress on an everyday level is still going because you're moving. So every action you take, whether that's getting up and brushing your teeth because it's the only progress you can make today, or it's getting just to the job to take care of your family and get through it, nothing else, then you're doing it. Okay, great, that's progress. If you're able to add on, once a month a conversation or go out or something and add a hobby, great. If not, that's okay too. But assessing where you are in line with yourself, because no matter what, giving up is not an option. I know that feels like an option for us all because it's the one way out. It's
No,
not giving up. To me, it's not because your life matters and you matter. Everything you've done and everything you've come so far and every experience you've given. I do have a question about you because I think life teaches you, not I think, I know personally. My thinking is my wrongness, but I know life teaches you every lesson in every way about yourself or about who you want to be or where you want to go. So, if anybody is willing to share in this first quarter of our 2026 over these last years, some of us are coming into our 40s, some of us are coming into our 20s, some of us are coming into other different portions of our lives. What's maybe this one thing that this first quarter has taught you about yourself? Take a second, think about it. If you feel like you want to share it, please do so. But what's one thing that you feel like you've learned or you've taught yourself or the year has taught you or someone taught you?
My husband is teaching me about being aware of my self-image and self-criticism. I go back to that naturally of not giving myself grace and devaluing myself to value others. And in this change time of my life, as I get older and as I've switched careers and as I'm helping him grow his business, um, my self definition of value has shifted and I am even more critical of myself. And so he reminds me on a regular basis to challenge my internal dialogue, and it has taught me to insert self checks into those not nice internal thoughts. It's like, hey, is that thought really true? Let's explore whether that's really true. So I've got tons of internal dialogue going on all the time. So I appreciate that he taught me to check in and uh, doubt the criticism.
I think that one of the things that I've been learning, and that saying being critical because that's how I was raised, is I've learned to question those tapes that run in my head, because the person that recorded those tapes has a terrible self-esteem issue. It was my mom. And thank God for my dad at the same time, because my dad loved me unconditionally. I was his kid, so I was perfect. And that's a hard time to balance between those two kinds of parents. But the thing that he taught me was that he loved me and God loved me. And I needed to focus on that. And one of the things that my amazing husband has taught me over the many years that we've been married is that I need to stop listening to those tapes, that I need to stop even running them and look back at the person who recorded those tapes for me and realize that they are not valid for me, that God has made me into a different person, and then God loved me and I am worthy of God's love and I'm worthy of many things. And again, my husband's love has helped me a lot in that. And so one of the things that I realized, because I go see my mother who now has dementia and Alzheimer's, and so she's basically asleep and doesn't talk to me and looks at me like, who are you? And she said that to me before. I'm like, okay, yeah. That the person who recorded those tapes is not there anymore. And I need to re-record those tapes with value for me. And
With dad's voice.
yes. Because it is so awesome. He loves me so much and there's no reason.
Yes, yes. What about you, Alicia?
I have learned that I need to stop questioning things because yeah, things are just given to me when they're supposed to be given to me for a reason, and I need to stop trying to beat the clock, I guess. I don't know.
Trust the process.
Yes, yes.
What about you, Eric?
Mine is that I think the word that keeps coming to my mind is vulnerability. Um, you know, lack thereof prior, and just realizing and reflecting that not being vulnerable led to reactions that I'm not proud of. So, just being able to be vulnerable and speak about the feelings. And I think it was you, Adela, that said kind of know who you can find. Like, there's one thing I've been saying throughout all of this is find your people. Um, Real quick, this story sticks with me. I did a voluntary check-in at a mood disorder clinic, and I want to shout out. I met an awesome person, Alex. He, him, transitioning. Adela, I normally have the really big red beard, and when I met Alex, at first the energy just was sucked out the room when he met me, and I didn't know why. And we built a good relationship, and he realized I was an ally. and he admitted that the big beard intimidated him because it
Oh,
reminded him of someone that had attacked him for being in the LGBTQ plus community. And
wow.
so, in honor of Alex, that's actually why I shaved my beard off. Like,
Oh,
kind
that's
of,
so
I don't
beautiful.
want to give off that intimidating demeanor just because of the beard. I mean, that does kind of lead to like you
Well,
can't judge a book with cover.
how lovely that you were willing, because that was part of your identity.
Yeah, and that was like the second time that had been brought to me where like the fact that I was a bigger, white guy with a big red beard that it was intimidating. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. So yeah,
Part
shout out
of
to Al.
Yeah, no, that is so awesome. Here's the thing I've learned, not just what Project Human has taught me, because I say that Project Human is me. I am because human, it's human. We are Project Human. It's taught me that we have the capacity to really step into someone else's moment of emotion. We may not be able to understand someone else's world from their eyes, because the way they see something and perceive something and experience something is totally and completely up to them. And we are no judge, jury, executioner on that at all. We are here to be in that way. But to be able to experience what their emotional response is or what they've gone through in that level and sit there and say, wow, like I can feel the fear, I can understand this, I can do that. How can I, in my existence too, do something that might be tailored to you to help you to navigate it? That doesn't mean you're also giving off a whole off of you, if like, and that being the big white guy on there, there's nothing wrong with that. The idea that you wanted to groom yourself in a little bit more different way that might represent a little bit different way, and be more approachable to more people, or this way or that way, is that's when we look at what we do for humanity, or how we can act upon something. Those are actions that when we take them, when we do that, really do genuinely change someone's life, right? And kudos to you for doing that. I shaved my head for me, not for anybody else. I did it for me because I wanted to shave my head and let go of it identity. But I also got to experience through other people of some liberation, and know what liberation feels like, and have that conversation about how it feels to be liberated off of something, or how it feels to start new from something, and not be so afraid of going the depths of things, and because it's just hair. And I know, again, it's not just fear or beard, facial hair, facial beard, that's it. But it's it's hair. It's part of our identity, like Debbie said, and a lot of us really hold on to that. But as we realize that we are a lot more than what our identity in this physical form is, that we are all humans who are here to experience this life in a way that we've all been created to do so, and we should look and acknowledge that, and how we do that and how we represent that in a good way is up to us. And that's the beauty of this experience. So the one thing that's taught me this year, really, for me, is I am when we talk about critical of ourselves, I literally think I'm the devil himself. No joke. No joke. No, 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 no. There will be some, no, no. There will be some people out of the woodwork that will come out and say, Adela has said this, done this, and Adela has said it and done it, and she has done it and been there, done it. Not a good kind, not good way, shape, or form who I am today. I own up to that 100%. Being able to look myself in the mirror, as I started to this month, really look myself in the eye and see myself for who I want to be and who I am versus who I thought I was, and who everybody else might think I still am, because they have been left with the version of who I was, not the version of who I am today. When I meet those people, when I come in contact, I need to have the capacity to reset myself, realign myself, and be able to shift their perspective too on the new version of myself, and not be offended by their reception of me, or how they react to me, because at the end of the day, I've left them with a version that might not have been so kind, or it might have been great. I don't know. But again, our experiences are different. So one of my greatest things has been to teach myself to be able to look myself in the eye and say that I'm worth the effort of everything that I'm doing, just like I'm teaching others. And this year, as of April 16th, because I had my own monumental moment of resetting for real, rebirth, I can. And that's a really proud moment for me. So
I love everyone sharing, and Eric, to what you said with vulnerability, like being honest and being raw with each other. What I got from each of these stories is that uh we have support from others. Um, Debbie has support from her husband. Alicia has support from her community and her husband. Eric, you went to seek support through a community who has shared focuses and ended up becoming support for someone that you met in that space through your actions and through making yourself more accessible and, like just being a human to another human. And what we do in our lives, we don't give ourselves enough credit for to show up and be supportive to others, and um, being that ear or being that ally or being that um, loving partner. These are forms of supporting the humans around us, something that we really care about at Project Human. And I just want to plug that April being Counseling Awareness Month, don't be afraid of asking people around you for support. It gives someone the karmic opportunity to give you support. Don't say no, say yes, please. Could be a friend, colleague, boss, therapist, support group, Project Human. Reach out, like say, hey, I need support, and I do know what support I need, and here it could look like this. Or I need support, but I don't know what it looks like. I don't know how I'm going to receive it, but here's what I'm going through. Please help. There are so many resources, and not just human. There are other resources out there, but you know, um, Adela, you've been in this the longest. What do you want to talk about support and
Yeah,
counseling
well,
and
actually, I
being
was
here
gonna
for each
ask.
other?
Oh,
And
You're
you're
muted.
you're on mute.
yeah, I muted myself. Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, I was actually gonna ask. One of the things that I've learned is support obviously looks so different for everybody. So let me ask you guys the question of what's your definition of support for you personally? What does that look like?
I think it depends on the situation. I think, sometimes someone just needs a ear so that they can vent. Sometimes it means, making somebody food because they're so overwhelmed they can't make their own food. I think it just really depends on the situation and kind of feeling the people out for what they need at
Okay.
that moment.
Let me rephrase the question really quick. What does support look like for you personally?
Oh,
I mean, I was gonna say almost the same thing. Like, I think it varies by person. Like, there was something earlier. I think Jennifer said it. When we're talking about a best friend. So for me, I have three people that pop in my head when I hear best friend. But there's one. Jennifer, I think you were saying like sometimes we're weary to kind of like reach out. We're kind of cautious to the word that I kind of come up that I think of is I don't want to call him and I don't want to trauma dump, and I like that. Not a single seat to fill. That's perfect. Um, but yeah, like with him, he's got a lot going on. So of the three that come to my mind, he's the last one that I call. So like support from him is going to look different for me, compared to one of the other two guys. Like, for him, it's just let's go for a drive. I know you got a lot going on. I got a lot going on. Let's just go listen to music. Like, music therapy is huge to me. So, like, I think that's become a passion to the point. Like, I think that's what I want to pursue for college. Go back to school. So,
Okay.
but then another one is more on a professional level. Like, hey, you're my mentor, but how do I do this? And I mean, Adela, you know who I'm talking about there. Um, and then I got one who we won't even get into that. But anyways,
No, that's good. That's good. That's good. I really like this because there's a reason over my last 10 years of what I've learned about support. So go ahead. I'd love to hear more from someone else. What does that look like for you personally? again, what it looks like for the community is knowing how to show up for someone else and seeing it, what situation, all that stuff, which also applies personally too.
I also
Yeah.
I think like Alicia said, it's situational too, because support in one situation is different. And I think one of the things about support is that you feel approved of, that even if you're not doing something that person likes or necessarily agrees with, that person still approves of you, that you're not getting. One of the things, which is this is part of my childhood trauma, is that when my mother would get angry with you because you pissed her off or hurt her feelings, she would cut you off. She would stop looking at you. She would stop talking to you. She would just give you orders. She didn't accept you talking back to her. And so you realize that in order to change this situation and feel approved of, you had to kiss her butt until she got happy with you. And that's very hard to get over that as a way to function in life, because it teaches you especially as a girl, that only only doing stuff that other people like is going to get you approved of. That was
Mm-hmm.
hard.
Mm-hmm.
And when I finally got to the point where I realized that was just true of her, and that my dad didn't care. He loved me for me, and even if I was a brat and did this or did that, he still loved me, my essence.
Right.
And so I think that being loved and cared about for you is, to me, that's support. Not that they agree with everything you do, but you feel approved of and safe and not.
Right.
And one of the things that happened as my mother got older and more into her mental health issues is that she decided that I was the bad guy and everything I did was wrong.
Right. So
And
you didn't have the support of the parental support, and that's a big
my dad,
structural.
I did
You
have
did
my dad.
on your dad, right? But mother support is a different thing too,
Well,
in the
but the thing
nourishment.
is,
Yeah.
my dad was
Nurturing.
in the Navy and he was gone a lot.
Right. Right. Jennifer?
I would say that I'm pretty driven, like my receiving love language is words of affirmation. And I think that aligns with what you were saying, Debbie, about like being seen and being accepted. It's telling me that I'm good, I'm worthy, I'm beautiful, I'm smart, I'm valid, I'm valued. Those words of affirmation really help me build fortitude in myself, and that's the kind of support that I find goes the furthest. So if folks, if you haven't heard of the 5 love languages, Google it. You can look it up for free, learn about your giving love language
That,
and your receiving love language. They don't have to be the same. For most people, they're not. And giving and receiving is very important because I give in acts of service and I receive in words of affirmation. They make me feel whole. So that's the kind of support I like.
They make you feel secure.
Mhm.
Well, I wouldn't say secure, but definitely worthwhile.
Yes.
It's
That was one of the things about my husband that after we got married, I realized that he made me feel like my dad did. He made me feel valued and totally accepting of me just like I was.
right.
And
So I was gonna say, so what I've learned, what you guys are saying is what's been a repeated couple of themes over these last 10 years, obviously, in what I've been doing. And part of what I know experience personally in that is safety within the self,
Mhm.
safety, a lack of control of your own emotional or thoughts or any of that stuff, so that we need to have, as Jen mentioned, having that moment of somebody giving us the affirmation of what we're doing, because we don't feel like we're in control over a lot of stuff. We're in there, just that control because of our trauma in our lives. As children, you didn't have control in how your parents reacted to you or what you did, so you had to do what you had to do to survive, or what environment were you in if you have been taken away from your environment, and how many times will you be placed in one or another or other place, or how many times will the rug be ripped under you, right? So support is something that I've noticed is a we have almost an inflated idea of, let me call somebody just to vent for a second and then be done with good where we're at. And that's good that we can have that for that moment, as you guys mentioned in those categories. I'd like to look at support on a more base level of our existence. We have a base level of how we exist, right? Just how we function. Adela, what's your base level of existence? Well, it used to be death, and I couldn't figure anything out. Now it's living. I can figure stuff out. I have control. I can do some stuff like my base. But base of support, categories of support, meaning professional, mental, emotional, spiritual. Which part of that support system do you have that you can reach out, as Eric mentioned, as Jen is saying, as everybody's mentioned in that could be, and that is what builds your community. It's not my community, our community, it's your community. That's how you build that. Who can be there for you in your spiritual moment when you need to have that conversation, you need to have church, and you might not be with somebody else? Who can be there for your professional level to talk the idea through with you and not think you crazy and think that you're from the eighth black hole that needs to be reeled in, and can just be like, let's go, Adela, let's meet Elon Musk. And I'm like, let's go, right? Who can be there for that? Who can be there also to keep you grounded in your levels on an everyday basis of being like, yeah, that's great, again, but we need you to be here, real Adela. Who's your support system? Part of knowing that is going back and reflecting upon yourself, pausing to see where you are, seeing how many accomplishments you have made, and if relationship nurturing, which is one thing that I thought I was really, really bad at, and I am in certain things, I am, but I'm not in the social relationships or in where I want to be, or my own personal, like I need to work on, my squad, 5, 6 people. I'm terrible at that. Why? Because I am learning, as Jen mentioned, what my language is in that relationship. I am service all the time. I am either do service me, do service them. I am service all the time. There's not an in-between of not serving. So where do I fall, and how do I fall into having the relationships when they're all about servicing each other, servicing, whether that's servicing through servicing through doing your laundry together, how are we serving each other in our existences? And for me, support has become that baseline. How do we serve each other? And who is in my corner to serve me in these moments that I need, so that I can serve them in their moments where I might be good at, or I might not even be, but I could find someone else. And that's what I found. Again, you guys mentioned all those topics, all of those themes that have fallen in there. But the thing that we haven't done is connect them together, that just because we're serving others doesn't mean we can't be serving ourselves.
My old boss
Adela,
said it's your
oh,
board
go
of
ahead, Alicia.
director. Sorry. My old boss said that it's like you get to select who's your personal board of directors.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, your people list. So
yep.
looking at the time, we're at 7:22. So just thinking about how we wrap all of this together, the theme for this has been looking back at Q1, pause, reflect, reset. And we've talked about intentionality and then being thrown off by the unpredictable. And we've talked about needing support, being support, asking for support, creating a support network of your people, your community around you. We talk about resources constantly within Project Human. One of them is a 3-step process: pause, shift, and act. You'll pause in the moment, like be with yourself, acknowledge what's going on. Don't just blur past it and try and get to the end game. Just be there, be with yourself, reflect about what's going on, you inside, your situation outside, and see, where can I shift my perspective away from what I can't do to what I can do, what I can't control to what I can control. When you tell yourself, I can control these things, you take power and reset your nervous system into panic reaction, into more focused, calm, and processing. And then finally, act according to what you can do and what you can control and how you can move forward healthy. Take the right steps, but pause, shift, act. Remember those, play them back if you need to. But like this is how we train ourselves in those moments, those panic moments, those, oh shoot, the rug's been pulled out. Pause, shift, reflect, act. Um, just being a little bit more in control and reaching out to your network when you're having trouble getting through those steps.
Absolutely.
I wanted to encourage folks, if you have a pen, since we don't have time to do it right now, but a journaling assignment. So if you want to just kind of think about this later on tonight, the suggestion is, what version of me do I want to support for the rest of this year? And what does that version of me need from me? What version of me do I want to support for the rest of this year? And what does that version of me need from me? So we've added it to the chat. Folks online, you can always pause and rewind right back to that. But give yourself a little bit of time and think about that. This could be, April 30th is your new January 1st.
Absolutely.
Start over, but
And
reflect on what you've accomplished and move forward.
And I'm gonna share. We've shared a little screen. We've shared this in our chat with you guys. But if you're stuck, kind of where you want to be, where you don't know where you are, reflect upon it, and you need something. This is a little handout that we're going to be working on and giving out to you guys. Reflect, reset, rebuild. But it's a pledge to myself to keep myself accountable for my success of my wants, and this will look different for everybody, you guys. But this is how you can start to kind of assess really quick for a moment with Jennifer's prompt, what she just said. Where are you at? Assess where you're at, and see where you can move and shift to perspective. Where do you want to be in your life, and how can you move towards those steps, and which ways you can do that. The last bit of that is the bridge between your need and your want is the requirement. What is it going to require you to do that? Is it going to require you to show up for yourself every single day by getting up at 5 a.m. or 7 a.m. or 10 a.m., whatever your schedule looks like? Is it going to require you to not have no more negotiables in taking care of yourself, right? What is it going to require you? What morals, what ethics, what boundaries, what values do you have that will no longer be walked all over or not put in front for you where you need to be so that you can, again, act accordingly to yourself? How do you start doing that? You start literally by writing down what you've accomplished today and what you've accomplished last week, if you can remember, what you might have accomplished the month before. Start writing down your accomplishments. Then you can assess where you need to go. Then you can assess what steps you need to take. And you will eventually get to what you want. I promise. I wanted to keep plants alive. I wanted to grow a plant. I did not want to kill anymore because I know I have a green thumb. Everybody said I didn't, but every time somebody says I can't, I do. And I did. It just takes some more persistence, and you have to see where you're at and what's your non-negotiable. I'm not giving up. That's my non-negotiable. I don't give up. You will never see me give up. It might just take me a little bit longer. It might take me a little bit different way. You might not like it. It might be loud. It might be quiet. You don't know. But I don't give up. I will show back up. I will be there. Just like my little plants. Because if you actually nurture yourself, you nurture your roots, right? And your soil and where you're going with what you're listening to, what you're hearing, who you're around, who you're surrounding yourself with, you will win. They can't beat you. They can't beat you. So reflection isn't about looking back. Okay. It isn't about looking back on with judgment, with shame, with guilt. It isn't about looking back at what you didn't do. Reflection is about, what did I do? It might not have been what you like, but what did you do? It's about looking inward with yourself honestly and with true transparency, and deciding to move forward with intention. You are allowed to adjust. You're allowed to change your daily plan. Every single day I call Groundhog's Day, you guys. It is the same day because it's only 24 hours, $24. It is the same day. If you're lucky enough to wake up, it is the same day. You wake up at 6 a.m. or you wake up, it's the same circular thing. So if it's Groundhog's Day over and over and over again, then just decide how much better it's going to be when you do it. And sometimes it may be a faster wheel. Sometimes it may be a slower wheel. This morning was a slower wheel for me, but I got there. Tomorrow's going to be a fast one, and I'll get there faster. You decide. You make the decision, because it isn't about saying that you can't do it. It's about saying, how can I do this differently? You're allowed to grow. You're allowed to begin all over again. You're allowed to restart, because you are much stronger, much more powerful, much wiser, because you have gained information. You have learned a new skill. You have gone through something that somebody else might not have, or if they have, you get to relate to and share with. No offense to our negative, but there is a positive to what we have to go through. And there is a lesson that we can take away. Be like, you know what? Okay, I got you. I still win. No matter what it is, I got you. Now, God, I'm not challenging fully, but I'm still saying no matter what, I got you and I win. Because why wouldn't we? As we mentioned, we are that light. We are that powerful. If anybody, we have just a couple more minutes on, so I want to go ahead and just let you know that we are asking volunteers to join us. If you go to our website at www.phinc-ing.org/join/us, you will be sign up on there. We would love to have you be part of our community, part of our conversation. Our next month's discussion will be on women's health. You don't want to miss this. We will really be talking about, again, the conversation on women's health and what we need to. And then June will be men's or mental health, which will also focus on men's mental health and PTSD with our June quarterly mental health day. And as always, our September 19th Runway to Resilience Fashion and Art fundraiser show is on and ready to go. Tickets are on sale. We would love to have you buy some and support us. Bring a friend. Come join a show. I'm working on stuff right now. You're going to want to. It's awesome. Anyway, anybody else want to part off? We got 3 minutes to say a parting word.
I've got 7:30 on my computer, so I
Mine's
think we can
7:27, but we can wrap it up. So
27.
7:27.
we'll split the
Yeah,
3 minutes.
7:27. Now just turned 7:28 here.
There we
We're
go,
on the
me
Mac,
too.
right? Everyone that's on a Mac.
Man, Max. What can we say? Max
So
United.
I'm traveling in time.
Tell us what happens, Jen.
What
Tell
happens
us
in 2 minutes?
What
You
happened
end the
2
show.
minutes ago?
Well, thank you guys so much for this great conversation. It was a wonderful one. I appreciate everybody sharing. We will see you next month in May for our women's health. Please share, please like, please subscribe. Continue to download our episodes on our podcast. You will also be able to listen to this on our podcast, The Artist Within. We're doing great. You guys are amazing. We love you. Continue to support each other and know that humans are worth the effort because you're worth the effort. Until next time.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.